After taking us to the #1 theme park in the world, the #1 city to live in France, our hosts take us for a long weekend in Dordogne, the #1 place where we can't pronounce anywhere we went. This weekend was full of caves, old cities, and more of the wow factor in France. Today we share with you a story about discovering the magic of Dordogne. This story is about a road trip with 4 French friends to a diverse and beautiful region, which includes our biggest "we are dumb" tourist moment to date. Our friends all informed us that they were in on it. If you've been following our stories in France, you'll be familiar with Max, Justine, and Mathilde. Or, as we like to call them, our French fries. We set out early in the morning from Angers and began the 5-hour journey to where the south of France begins.
Right, good morning. Today we are visiting the semi-south of France, would you say?
La Canada.
Yeah. Perfect.
This medieval city gave us the feeling of walking around King's Landing in Game of Thrones. It was old and the market was huge. They had French knives, lots of food, and beautiful streets.
Fun facts about castles. They used to build stairs that were not on the same level, not on the same height. That way, if there were invaders, they would naturally trip because their foot would be, not on the same level.
We settled down for a coffee at Café Marcel Salat, before commencing with a photo shoot in an alleyway, where Max and Mary got to practice their photography. The results are stellar. This is not really an attraction, but it is a perk of such a beautiful city. We are currently at Lascaux. It's a cave. Hosts are being very close to the chest about all the information.
We're not spoiling anything.
They're spoiling nothing.
Not ruining the fun.
The Lascaux Cave was discovered in 1940 in the midst of World War II by several boys whose dogs slid right on into a fox's den and they went down after it. Within this cave, a large amount of undisturbed Paleolithic tools were found. 112 of them were found intact, as well as over 900 extremely detailed works of cave art that transformed the view that the modern world has on humans of this era. We had no idea what France had in store.
The guy's gonna scan my QR code.
These caves are a monumental deal and world-renowned as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. This art dates back 20,000 years. Tourism to the cave began in 1948, but as CO2 levels in the cave began to rise, an air regeneration system had to be built in the 50s to preserve the environment. The site offered an English tour, complete with a French accent, that allowed us to soak up the amazing facts. Thank you to our French friends who went through the English tour with us. When the tour began, the temperature dropped as we were shuffled into the cave. We were so close to the walls. The art was so vivid, we were pretty intimidated. It's no wonder why they call this Lascaux, the Sistine Chapel of prehistory. After going through the cave experience, you encounter the museum, where they do allow filming and photography. The museum is interactive, taking you through interpretations of major highlights from the cave art. This allows for a much closer inspection of the exhibits and provides a great deal of details. This was not as magical, but just as entertaining as the cave. So if you're like us and you did not know that this place existed, you must add it to your stop when you go to France. It's an art museum. It's 20,000 years old. And it is absolutely stunning. I'm grateful they don't let us take photos or videos when you're inside the actual cave because it forces you to be present. Also what it does is it preserves how incredible this experience is for when you get here. I'm grateful our friends told us nothing about it because I would have done some Googling, figured it out, but instead going into it blind meant everything was just the wow factor. That's what France is known for. Why am I sad eating ice cream? Because, well, Meredith and I were talking about how incredible the cave was, how well preserved the art was, how magical it was. Our friends all informed us that they were in on it. It's a replica cave. It's not the real thing. We didn't know. Apparently the tour guide told us at the beginning, but we were just too enamored with it to catch it. So it is still incredible. You cannot miss this activity, but don't be caught off guard like we were. The original cave became closed to the public in 1963, and since then, this replica has been made and improved upon. The entire cave, every piece of art, is identical to the original, stroke for stroke, 100%, every rock, even down to the temperature and the humidity, even down to recreating a shaft that tourists can't even go down. Once we were over the "oops, we should have realized this" moment, even knowing it was a replica, it did not take away from the wow factor, just away from the guilt we had of breathing in the cave.
Which, now that they told us that it wasn't real, it makes a little bit more sense, because we could get really close to the walls and people were practically touching the paintings, and there was an elevator inside of the cave, but I just thought that they had done all this great stuff to preserve it so we could walk around. But it turns out it just wasn't the real cave whatsoever. And for 2 hours, we thought we went into this real cave and saw 20,000-year-old artwork, and it turns out we didn't.
We called it a day after that and returned to the Airbnb in the hills, made dinner, and played board games.
So today is the day I find out what we're finally doing. Max has planned some kind of an activity, and he's refused to tell me what it is for an entire week.
She's gotta discover and have the wow effect.
Yes, so we have no idea what we're walking into right now, but we were told to bring jackets and that we might be claustrophobic.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold and confined space.
Yay! Can't wait.
We departed early the next day for Goof Deak, another world-famous cave. This one we verified is not a replica.
So excited!
Yes, we're going into a cave.
Yes, we did find that part out. So we've got our jackets, and I'm ready to be claustrophobic for hopefully not very long. Whoa, that looks cool.
Je suis de Parak. Goof?
We are going 103 meters underground, exploring for several kilometers. We recommend this adventure even if you're a little claustrophobic in caves, as the caverns never narrow around you. In fact, there's plenty of room at all times. A crisp and constant 13 degrees Celsius. Be sure to bundle for this exploration. The journey begins with a big descending staircase into the open chasm, taking you down 75 meters. There's an elevator for those who might not be excited about these steps. We were provided with handheld audio guides that were location activated. They provided an English translation that spoke to you as you walked through the cave. The acting was the best part of the audio guide.
It's got the wow factor.
Yes. So they said that we can't film inside, which I really appreciate. France does that a lot. Like, we'll go to an activity and then you can't film.
Although it's only special parts, the parts I want to keep secret. So there's like this boat ride that we cannot film, but then on the pedestrian walkthrough, we can.
Go ahead and film it.
Once down the giant chasm, you enter into the cave proper.
This is for you, Collin, with your head awareness.
Head awareness is bad.
The cave is home to an underground river, flowing 42 kilometers to meet the Dordogne River, flowing through the stunning cave the entire way. This cave was first explored over 130 years ago, and first welcomed visitors on November 1st, 1898. Once in the cave, there's a walkway along a stream. We were admiring the water, but we had no idea what was to come. Midway through the cave exploration is an underground gondola system to ferry you across this unwalkable kilometer in the cave. This was undoubtedly the highlight, as we got to sit, smile, and admire.
So we just got off our first boat ride, and we learned that this whole place is 40 kilometers of river. And
40 kilometers of river.
Yeah. Amazing. It's huge.
After the gondola ride, the cave opens up for an unforgettable walk. The main gallery, the pinnacle of the tour, rises to a height of 94 meters, towering above in the dark. They call this pile of plates, but we like to call it crepes in a cave. Very French. There are still galleries of this magnificent cave that have yet to be explored. Due to millions of years of sunless isolation, The animals and the plants that call this cave home are sensitive to light, and for their preservation, only a few kilometers of the cave are allowed to be lit, leaving the other 40-some untouched and dark. This whole morning had us thinking and confirming France brings the wow factor. After our underground expedition, we caravanned over to the sacred village of Madur, classified as yet another UNESCO World Heritage Site. Like Mathilde always says, this castle is different, and boy, this one was. With 4 arched stone gates, 3 tiers to the town, and an imposing cathedral and castle built into the cliff face, we could hardly believe our eyes. But before we followed our eyes, we followed our stomach. We ate at Envy's Datorium, where the food was great. I had duck and Rocamadour cheese. Yes, cheese that shares the name and the region of this incredible place, and I highly recommend it. Our stomachs filled, we began exploring the ancient city, meandering up to the sanctuary composed of 8 chapels. Throughout medieval Europe, this site was one of 4 core pilgrimage sites, as it is home to the crypt of Saint Madur. This pilgrimage attracted kings, knights, and peasants alike. As such, it became a pinnacle of the St. James Way, or El Camino,
We're on the Camino!
for those embarking from France. For us, the most incredible part of the sanctuary was how it melds seamlessly in with the cliffside. We continued our climb up through the ancient city to the castle on top. This was erected to protect the town and the chapels below.
For some reason, hiking up to this church was so freaking hard. Worth it. It's so hard.
From the top, you get amazing panoramic views of the valley and the small town.
Last words?
This is a very lucky nail. It's about to find its permanent home here on top of the mountain. Oh, this one needs a new home again. Okay, that one's not my problem.
This town and all the area around it holds so many more gems. We wish we had more time and energy to explore. I guess we'll just have to come back. After 2 amazing weeks in France, we were heartbroken to say goodbye to our hosts. It was hardly a fair thank you, but when we left to buy baguettes, we stopped at a flower shop to get a little something.
And instead of saying Javoujet un bouquet, I said Javoujet un baguette. And I asked for a baguette at the flower shop.
And the lady pointed across the road.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, no, I do want your flowers. And look how pretty these are.
We cannot fathom how life gets better than exploring France with these friends. More adventures lay ahead with our french fries for sure.
We just tried to order more breakfast and I said huevos vegetariano and she didn't know what I was talking about, so then I went like this because there was some like egg dish, and I wish I paid attention in Spanish class more because I got a lot to learn. Oh yeah, and then she went bak bak and I was like, no bak bak, and then she's left, so I have no idea what we're about to get, but it's gonna be good.
We?
Oh yeah, Collin accidentally said we.
Not see.
Hour,
So get used to this.
hour 1.